This is the thing. Who you choose to hang around with, who you choose to have in your posse is exactly who you become. Choose your posse wisely. I'm here to tell you that putting yourself first is not selfish, it's revolutionary. Welcome to the Woman Warrior Podcast, empowering women to light their lives on fire through Ayurveda, yoga, spirituality, and fitness.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Satyavani, and I'm here along with my partner, Prajna Mandavi. And we want to welcome you to the Trainerize app, our branded app. This app has two beautiful functions that we want to share with you to get your health moving in a woman warrior direction.
So the first component is the fitness workout side, which is fabulous. With this app, trainers can give you a personalized experience based on your fitness goals, our dosha assessment, and fitness level. The app has phenomenal access to videos for each exercise so that there is very little confusion. There's also messaging capabilities so that trainers can continually keep in contact with you as you move further into your fitness journey.
The second component is the nutrition piece, because you cannot out-train a bad diet. After the initial assessment is taken, trainers can align your doshic diet to your specific exercise regimen, which means that eating more of what you need and less of what you don't. The recipes are then posted in the app where you can choose meals based on time, ingredients, and taste. And you can always refresh the menu if needed because you prefer something different.
So with these two components, along with our Ayurvedic assessment, we'll give you a unique and individualized experience that you most likely cannot find anywhere else.
I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. By using our personalized app, you'll gain knowledge of what your body needs and be on the road to becoming your best and brightest self. Welcome to our app. Jai Bhagwan, Woman Warriors, and welcome to the Woman Warrior Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Satyavani, and my mic is okay, here we go. It's adjusted. And I am here with my business partner and fellow co-host who doesn't tell me anything.
Prajna Mandavi. Hello, everyone.
Inside joke. No, but this is the thing. When you're in a business partnership and a podcast partnership, you share things about how business is done and the goings on, okay?
Yes.
And with my beautiful partner here, with her Vata brain,
Yep.
something goes in, and then I find out about it like 4 days later. I'm like,
leaves.
what?
Yeah.
What's the thing?
I think about it, it pops in my head, and then it just goes away.
Oh, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's not intentional.
I know.
It just disappears from my brain.
I know.
sometimes.
And this is what's so great about Ayurveda, because once you understand people's constitution types, then you don't have to, you don't feel offended.
Because in my mind, I was like, oh, she's going to be pissed when she finds out that I knew about this. Her Pitta self. She's going to be pissed.
I was like, this is a lack of respect. Okay. There's just no respect. Well, you did not tune in to hear us banter about our lack of respect, but rather we are here today to talk about how the doshas create need for recovery. So we're in this koshic line. As everybody knows, we have done podcasts on the Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha. We're in the Manomaya kosha now, and this will probably be our last podcast on the Manomaya kosha. And then we'll move into Vijnanamaya. So still in that mental emotional space on the koshic level. And so today we actually wanted to talk about the mental emotional game around recovery in respect to the different constitution types, which is really very interesting. And we're going to dive into that. But first, we have some announcements. So go ahead, girl.
All right. So 3 big ones. We have not just DECA training, but training for our Spartans that are coming up in July.
It's Spartan season.
August and September. Yep. So, training at Epoch with Grayson and the crew. They still
How's
a lot
that
of
running game going?
Still a lot of running. So taking a break from that probably for a couple weeks, and they have some DECA events that are coming up
in July
as well. Okay.
Yep, we've got a DECA Strong and a DECA Mile.
The DECA Strong will be nice.
Yeah.
To have in July.
Yeah. And the Deca Mile's not so bad because the runs aren't that long.
No.
And it's just in and out of the door. Not a big deal. But those will be really nice. And I'm looking forward to us racing as a team.
Yes.
That's going to be fun.
We are very team-oriented these days.
Yes.
Yes.
All about the team.
Yeah. And then last week, you did the week before, and then I did last week, the yoga teacher training at Y6.
Yep.
So doing posture clinic and vinyasa training. What was really good, and I really commend Christy Williams. Shout out to Christy Williams.
Christy,
yeah.
you are a beast.
Yeah.
So good.
Who pretty much ran the whole thing. She was really focused on connections with these students, and I really think that boded well for this group.
Absolutely.
For her as well.
Yes.
She really enjoyed that, getting to know this group. So this is their last couple of days in the training.
They graduate this weekend.
Yeah.
Is it Sunday or Saturday?
I think it's Saturday.
Okay.
Maybe Sunday.
I'm hoping it's Sunday.
Yeah, their capstone I think is Saturday.
Yes.
And then Sunday.
Wonderful.
And then we are getting good responses through Trainerize.
Yes.
So that's our third one through the nutrition app. We've been putting some clients through that, and we are getting some really good feedback.
Absolutely.
On that the recipes are easy to follow.
Yep.
They're foods that they already pretty much have in their diet for a couple of them. And just getting them refocused as to what they need in their diet. So getting good feedback.
Yep. And also the workout designs. The workout designs are great. And we have actually a whole protocol, a whole constitutional protocol that starts out foundationally and then a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3. So regardless of your doshic type, you have the opportunity to engage in exercises as we break up the body. So we look at the body from the 3 doshic perspectives. You've got, Vata in the upper body, Pitta middle, and Kapha lower body. So we're kind of gearing our exercises towards that, and then obviously that allows for each of the constitutions to be tapped into in its balancing and positive way, because as we've talked about a million times, each of the doshic constitutions exist inside of us. Even though we have an orientation towards 1 or 2, these being responsible and knowing your constitution type will get you to a certain place, but you have to remember that all of them exist and have very specific functions. Yeah. So that we don't tend to just continue to feed the ones that are predominant for us.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Awesome.
Love it.
So yeah, those are the 3 main announcements that we had today.
Yes.
So that moves us to our number 2 wellness check-in.
Yep. And before we do the wellness check-in,
absolutely,
if you are interested in 2 things, our Constitution quiz is up on the website.
That's right.
Yes.
I wanted to add that.
No, that's okay, because when you made the outline for the podcast, that hadn't been completed yet. So the Constitution quiz is on the Woman Warrior website. So if you go to thewomanwarrioracademy.com, and you will see the Constitution quiz there, and you get your results right away. And then they're emailed to you on top of that. And it gives you some explanation about what that means and then how you can take it next steps if you want to. And we've actually had quite a few people already take it. So we're excited about that, because if you go ahead and do that and want to take next steps, it makes it so much easier to plan fitness and nutrition to that. And if you want to take it an even step further and get more education, then we can route you into our online circle, which makes life really a lot of fun. And that community is building as well, which has been very exciting.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So
all right.
I want to make sure we got that out. And then the other thing was, I don't know, Vata brain. It slipped my mind. I know. I know.
Okay.
So, Constitution quiz and the yoga page.
Oh, okay.
So the yoga page is also going to be going up on our website. If you are interested in training with us on the yoga side of life, there'll be more information on the website about that.
Which is something we can talk about today with recovery.
Yes.
Yep. That's very important. Okay. Wellness check-in.
You go first. Sad face.
Well, on the physical side, I feel a little bit injured right now, I think.
Girl.
Yeah. between the two of us.
Yes. We're losing limbs.
Yeah. Between the running and the YTT last week, I think I probably did a little bit too much hot yoga. Through the posture clinic, you're holding postures for a little bit longer while students are trying to figure out how they're going to get you through the posture.
Right.
So it puts a little bit, and then a lot
I
of
forgot
sitting.
about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're not doing it all the time.
No,
but
when you're holding, it's like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it's not, they're new.
Yeah.
It's not their fault at all.
Yeah.
But like yes, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, get me out of this. But I think it was mostly just sitting in a cold room. I think that was a lot of it too. So that combination. So my knee is pretty sore. So I'm trying to recover that right now, which means I'm really just kind of lifting on it very gingerly and doing icing and
Except when you're balancing on the Bosu on one leg with a barbell in your hand.
Well,
of which is a very regular thing for the record, okay? And if you want to see what that looks like, you can go to our Instagram page and see all the videos of Prajna balancing on a Bosu on one leg.
Yeah, there's that.
It's it's fucking impressive,
Yeah.
I have to say. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to, get the muscles to support the knee.
Right.
Since my meniscus is torn and
I just want to be able to balance on a Bosu with 2 feet.
yeah. Well,
Small goals.
When I look at other people and just how they can't do that, I think about, okay, yeah, wow.
Yes.
That's actually more impressive than I thought.
That just dawned on you?
Yeah. Well,
Just
don't think about it.
I'm like, yeah, I'm working on 2 legs.
Yeah. And then let's see, mentally, emotionally, energetically, even though I'm getting up at 3 a.m. Still,
Yeah.
I mean, sleeping in is maybe 5. I've slept in until 5, maybe a couple.
Doesn't that feel just miraculous?
It does.
You're just like, wow, 5 a.m.
But I also feel like, I've wasted 2 hours of my day. And does feel good. That might be a part of my recovery issue too, is just not getting enough sleep.
Yes.
In the summer, it's hard. It's light out till
I know.
9:30.
I know. When that
10.
sun's not going down until like 9:45, it's rough.
Because your body needs sleep to recover, and so that's a major part. And then, but energetically, even though I'm getting up at 3 a.m., I just feel like I have so much purpose, and it's just so nice.
How does it feel different this summer from last summer?
Well, I get those little Mav Weekly emails in my
What's a Mav Weekly?
the little updates for school.
Oh, because you guys are the Mavericks? Is that what it is?
Coming up.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I don't know.
And I see those and I'm like, I don't have to actually read this. It's so exciting.
Oh my God. So they still have you on the email list?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have my email probably till September.
Okay. Or until IT figures out that you're no longer there.
Yeah. Or till then.
Right.
So yeah, I'm trying to transfer all my emails over, which I have most of that done. But that's an energetic shift. And
I like it.
It feels good. And then just all the things that I have going between the YTT and the personal training, and then just the things that I get to type up, like it's more of a get to instead of have to. It's just exciting. And mental, emotional, that brings me in a pretty good mental state.
Love it.
Emotionally, I'm kind of, and that also feeds into my intuition. The search is still on.
The search is still on, y'all. So if you think that you are a good candidate to date my bestie here,
Yeah.
first of all, there's a committee. Okay, we take applications and we review the applications, and then we'll get back to you. But
Yep, the search is still on. And I'm just getting better at intuitively and just being more blunt and being more open and just more selective, I guess, of what I know what I want and know what I don't want.
you definitely know what you don't want.
Yes. And that's been really nice to go through that. And then, as usual, still working on the spiritual side. Really trying to get outside as much as I can in the garden and outside just in general. And pulling the Kali cards from now and then. But I really want to get more Nidra into my life.
Nidra's been a game changer for me. Like just getting back into that.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So, yep.
Nice.
That's it for me.
Love it.
What about you?
I don't have a big toe.
Well, you have
So I
a
do.
bigger toe.
I have a bigger toe. So as you know, and for the audience, was with my trainer August on Monday and put two 35-pound dumbbells down onto the bench. And in my mind, I'm like, the way I'm putting these side by side, one of these could roll off and hit my foot. And I did it anyway. And it rolled off. Boom, right on my big toe. And oh my God, I was just like, it was one of those surreal, like slow motion things. And I'm like, did this really just happen? Right. And like August is like trying to tell me that it's like, he's like, Sot. I'm like, oh my God. So the good news is the toe's not broken. The nail has not been damaged. It's just majorly bruised and it throbs.
Yeah.
And I have like 2 blisters on it too. It's like, it's kind of gross. And it's like purple and gross. And it's actually better today. I mean, it's only Wednesday. But what that's a testament to is like all of the things it is that we do. You know, the supplementation, the workouts, the meditation, the hydration, the food, all of that actually so matters when things like this happen.
Yeah.
Because you can recover so much faster.
Yep.
So it's, you know, it turned like purple overnight. And then I was having like, not like, I'm not having difficulty bending at the joint or anything like that, but where it hit on the cuticle and like where the scabbing is and everything, that's what's making it tight to bend. So it's gross. But, and I've been like, changing my shoes all day because I'm like, well, this feels okay now. But then by the end of the day, I'm like, my toe's a little fatter. So I need to switch. So, and now I just have to go out and buy a damn pair of flip flops because, just so that, you know, it'll be easy. But, outside of that though, things are good. I actually feel way stronger. My like bench is a lot stronger now. And I just feel great about that physically. And a lot of that has to do with I am incorporating more recovery into my life, which is making a humongous difference. I didn't realize how much of a difference it was going to make. And this will feed into, you know, the whole mental emotional game around recovery, especially for we Pittas. So that's been great. And energetically, that feeds into the energetics where I just feel calmer, you know, more pulled back and on target, and rested. Like, it's interesting, even though I would say there's some days where I'm getting like a really good amount of sleep. And then there are other days just because of how the day goes. And then the next day, like the Wednesday to Thursday transition is a tough one.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if the day goes long on Wednesday, I got to get up at 3 on Thursday anyway. I mean, you know, because we coach, you know, on Thursday mornings. So that's the roughest transition of the week. But what I did notice is that like last night I only got like 6 hours of sleep, but I am not tired. So like something, I don't know whether I'm riding like momentum or, you know, whatever, but I was in the gym at 5, you know, because I wanted to train before my client came and the whole thing.
Yeah.
So energetically things feel even. The Satyavani and Michael household is a little, you know, energetically in motion because of Michael's transition this summer for his Teach for America contract. So, you know, we're just navigating that and navigating the kiddies and all of that as a result.
But you're also putting in your practices and being the witness.
100%. Just being the witness about this transition. I'm super excited for him. And it may or may not be, you know, long term. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just playing it out. Whereas like in the past, I would be very controlling. Yeah. Because we Pittas have control issues. And now I'm just like, nope. You know, and it is serving well. It's serving well for the mental emotional state as well. So mentally, emotionally, I've gotten way better getting back into like pranayama practices so that the mind is clear from jump. And several days a week, I'm doing the Kripalu sadhana in the morning rather than going to the gym first thing. So that's been very helpful on the mental emotional, which is really given time and space for the pause of creating that kind of mental territory for intuition to come through.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when we're like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and we have that post-it checklist of things, we don't create space around into the creation of intuition and like, am I moving intuitively rather than just being a human being? We're being a human doing. Yeah. So we get very caught up in the tasks, and I can do that, like, because I'm just like, okay, I want to accomplish this, and this, and it becomes a task list rather than like, how do I energetically feel about this, you know, and intuitively, is this the right move? Mm-hmm. And so just being able to start out with sadhana in the morning, a couple of days a week, that's creating more space for that to happen. And
nice.
and that feeds into the spiritual. The spiritual, I keep going back to what we talked about at the Acharya initiation retreat with, if you put your spirituality first, everything else falls into place. Mm-hmm. And I even felt that way when we were at that local gym yesterday.
Yeah.
With, meeting the folks there. And it was like intuitively, no, this isn't a fit.
Yeah.
You know, this is just not a fit. And I think a lot of that has to do with the spiritual practices that are put in place. Yoga Nidra is just a game changer. I feel so rested as a result. And maybe that's why part of the not feeling tired, even though I'm getting, 6 hours of sleep a couple days a week, I think a lot of that has to do with the Nidra, because that gives you that restful time. So yeah, it's been great. And I'm like super excited for, summer to be kicking off. We're upon the summer solstice, which is actually really interesting because this is when the days now start getting shorter. Mm-hmm. So we actually are entering the yin time of the year. Yeah. Where we think that it's like super yang because the days seem longer. Actually, after the 21st of June, things are getting shorter. Mm-hmm. So it happens so fast.
Yeah.
It's like 4th of July, Christmas. Like,
yeah.
So we'll see.
I know.
But summer's going to be great. Like,
yeah,
we've got a great lineup. We've got fun things that we're doing, and it's great. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk recovery.
Okay.
So recovery is a really interesting thing, and I've learned a lot about it this year. I have to say, I have to commend you. You do a lot more and have done a lot more and have taught me a lot more about recovery. And so being a Vata constitution, I actually want to ask you, what do you find is necessary in the way of recovery for a Vata constitution? Mm. And like for you, what is the mental emotional game that goes along with recovery?
Yeah. So for a Vata, I would say a lot of the typical of Vatas is the anxiety that comes around working out. So, and that has shifted for me now, knowing more about my constitution, what is beneficial for my constitution, which is primarily strength training. And where I can get into trouble is feeling like I need to strength train every single day. Mm-hmm. Because if I miss, I'm going to miss out and maybe not feel quite as well if I miss out on that day. Back in the day, when I thought that cardio was the thing that I should do, that was like a half an hour to an hour of treadmill time.
Oh, an hour on the treadmill?
Is brutal when I think about that. Or Stairmaster. I never did the bike because I hate the bike. But yeah, treadmill or Stairmaster or elliptical. I was on there for like half an hour before I actually, did my workout. I did it first, which, all the science says you should do your cardio last. You do not have to do a half an hour.
But you want to know something? I think back in the day, just as a side note, I think back in the day it was do your cardio first. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was.
And now it's completely the opposite.
Get all sweaty first and then go sweat on a bunch of benches and weights. Maybe COVID changed that. I don't know. We don't want you to sweat on the bench. So yeah, for Vatas, it's a lot of anxiety. So I would get a lot of anxiety when I would miss a workout. And then, as I got older, I started to get more injuries and started to realize that, rest days are kind of crucial to have in there. And so,
And believe it or not, Vatas need more rest.
yeah, yeah, mental and physical.
Yes. Like you need mental, like delicate little flowers.
Delicate little flowers.
Like you need more and if we look at it also as recovery from like a sleep standpoint, Vatas need the most sleep.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. Kappas need the least amount of sleep, and Pittas, we're just right in the middle. But Vatas need the most amount of sleep, and they need the most amount of recovery. And yet y'all resist it.
Yeah. And so therein also comes the second problem with Vatas and with me being a Vata is, if I recover, don't do my activity, well, then I can't eat as much because I didn't work out.
Right. And so you can't gain weight.
Yeah.
Right.
So
There's nothing to do with gaining muscle, of course. But.
no. Yeah, you don't want to gain that weight. You don't want to feel lethargic. You don't want to feel heavy. So I can't eat my regular meal because I didn't work out for that hour today. Or I need to do something to counteract that, which again was the whole eating disorder that I had when I was younger is, you eat something, you got to work it off.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. So really those are the two maybe worst things that Vatas deal with is that anxiety around resting and recovering. But then also Vatas are the ones that need to eat.
Yes.
When they don't feel like it, even when they don't feel like it.
Yes. I would like for you to share with our listeners, because I think a lot of folks deal with this. Like we have a lot of Vata, even if you're not Vata constitution.
We live in a Vata world.
We do. We live in a very Vata
Material
world.
girl.
A Vata girl.
Vata girl in the Vata world.
We should come up with a pop song. Yeah. But there's a lot of Vata derangement, that we say in Ayurveda. And what does it feel like when this is literally a language I do not understand. like
what does it feel like to not eat?
Exactly. Like what is that
like?
Like what I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying, like, I literally have no idea what that's like because I have had a voracious appetite since literally coming out of the chute. And so I see it with Michael. Like Michael will have like a small bowl of cereal in the morning and then like not eat until 11 and he'll have like his biggest meal, but then like go hours. And I'm like, I ate 17 times already. And like, it doesn't even, when we talk about this in Ayurveda, the idea of how Vatas can forget to eat. Like, I don't understand that at all. So like, if you could share with our listeners, like when I understand the anxiety around resting, but not eating enough to recover. Like what is that experience really like? Like, is it conscious?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I think when the anxiety hits you with, oh God, I didn't work out how I should have, that's very conscious. Like, so I'm not going to eat on purpose because I didn't work out.
Now, when you say that to yourself, or when one says that, because I know you don't say that much anymore, but like when you do say that to yourself, does that feel punishment driven? Like I didn't work out, and so therefore I'm not going to eat because I don't get the pleasure out of eating and building muscle and being strong because I didn't earn it.
Punishment or maybe a little bit of fear, like the fear of if I do eat, then I might gain some weight, on my Vata body. But that was when I didn't think about, muscle per se.
Right.
I was just thinking about weight as weight. Like I don't want to get fat.
Right.
So out of fear of getting fat, I'm going to not eat because I didn't do my hour cardio. Right. I didn't think about the fact that no, I want to eat so that I can build the muscle that will then sustain me throughout. And so that's the conscious piece. And then when it's unconscious, And you just kind of get in your little Vata derangement. I'm doing, which again is anxiety, kind of anxiety driven. I've got all this stuff to do and I have to get it all done. And, oh, I don't have time to eat right now. And I'm really not that hungry because I'm busy thinking of all these other things that I've got to do. And I'm going to do this and this and this and this.
Oh my God, I'm really tired.
Yeah. Now I'm going to take a nap. Well, now I napped instead of worked out. And so I can't eat. And yeah. Yeah. All of that stuff.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And, you know, when I got the thyroid diagnosis, that the feeling that I couldn't sit down, that anxiety, that anxiousness that I constantly felt of like, I just feel like I have to do something all the time.
Right.
Then, yeah, I was forgetting to eat a meal, or I'd have a handful of trail mix. That will sustain me. And then you get the symptoms of, or at least I get the symptoms of, I don't know about you other Vatas out there, but you have air and ether in your body.
Yes.
So then you get the feeling of,
Bloated.
I'm bloated. And so now I don't want to eat because I feel bloated. And food's not going to fix that problem, which actually it does.
Yes,
if
it does.
you eat warm and
Ground
oily.
and grounded food.
Yes, grounded food, then yes, it does help. And so now I have to remind myself, oh, I'm feeling kind of bloated. I need to eat something.
That's actually the signal that you do need to eat because, you know, Vatas actually, out of all of the constitution types, need the most recovery. And that recovery needs to come in the form of good sleep. And you'll talk a little bit about mobility. But food. Food is a necessary part of Vata recovery. And if you're not eating enough food, then you lose your Agni, you lose your digestive fire. And that is a first-class ticket to getting sick, because what happens is you're not recovering by eating food. You then put out your Agni, which then lowers your immunity very, very rapidly because of the 70% of the immune cells that exist inside of the gut. And then the circles under the eyes, the depletion in the muscle wasting, and the whole thing starts to happen. And then you are wide open and susceptible for any kind of bug that's going to hit you.
Yeah.
So
you've got constipations, you've got, built up stuff in your gut. Like, yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So that's what I have learned
I think that's great.
over the last couple of years. And that doesn't mean that I don't still do it. This time of
It's a
year
work in
when
progress.
it's super hot in the afternoon, I'm like, do I really need to eat another meal right now? Because it's already hot.
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes. Doesn't have to be big, but something.
Yep. So recovery for Vatas to clear the mental emotional space. So what are the tips?
Well, I would say either Nidra or getting some rest. If you can't do it at night, maybe getting some sort of 20-minute nap in the afternoon if you can. I know a lot of people can't, but really trying to do those healthy sleeping habits of getting to bed before 10 p.m., getting up at a decent hour. Again, we need the most, 8 hours of sleep. Recovery as far as if you have, say, an injury or not, you feel overworked. Instead of lifting heavy or doing cardio, mobility work.
Yes.
Still improving your joint sustainability without putting too much weight on it and without, wearing it out by consistent, constant movement through cardio. So mobility would be a really good one there. Probably isometric yoga.
Yes.
Like a hot 26 class. For Vatas, that would be decent because they can still be hot and not have to worry about too intense. But, just some isometric contraction, stabilizing those joints. Again, instead of a lot of weight bearing or cardio.
Yes.
But yeah, just going off and getting on the treadmill and walks, taking a walk instead of doing a heavy cardio.
Yep. I'm also going to give 2 recommendations. Abhyanga.
Yeah.
So oil massage, self-oil massage. And If you don't know what Abhyanga is, you can Google it. It's very simple.
Yeah.
But there's a very specific technique, which is self-oil massage, which is fantastic for Vata recovery. It covers the joints, using that warm oil on the body. And so it sustains the joints, but it also gives that grounded heaviness to the air and ether bodies and minds that Vatas tend to have as it relates to recovery. And then the other thing is Shirodhara.
Yeah.
So Shirodhara is oil on the forehead, and it's luxurious and just seeps all around the head, in the hair, etc. There's practitioners all over the place that do Shirodhara, and it's excellent to calm Vata mind, the mental emotional space as it relates to recovery. So
Epsom salt baths.
Yeah.
I mean, probably for all three, but for Vatas, that warmth.
Yep.
And the water.
Water's great.
So I don't have a bathtub, but
I know.
back in the day.
Back
when
in
I
the
did,
day.
baths were great.
Stand up shower.
Yeah.
It's all good. All
Yep.
good. All right. So Pittas.
Pittas.
Oh.
When you feel out of balance, Satyavani, what do you do?
So
And how does that play out in your world?
never good.
Yeah.
Pittas are, as you know, we're intense, and so the mental emotional space around recovery is similar but different with Vatas. I would say that because of the intensity, the mental emotional game around recovery, as it relates to we Pittas, has everything to do with I don't feel like I earned it, or I need to accomplish this. So that space of I've got to earn my recovery. I have to lead by example. I have to make sure that I accomplished this thing.
I have this goal that I had
Yes.
set for myself. So I got
Yes.
to keep going, moving towards that goal.
Exactly. I have to move towards that goal. And if you have achieved that goal, you got to set a new one. So there's a lot of mental intensity. I think the difference is there's not anxiety around it. It's, for lack of a better phrase, you fucking get it done.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Just get it fucking done.
Determination.
It is. It's like, this is the thing, do the thing, get it done. Stop bitching about it. Nobody cares.
Or
Work
sense
harder.
of control.
Right.
This is what I can control. Is this
Bingo.
right here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we, as a result of that, can mentally burn out. We can mentally burn out because it becomes a series of intense moments, one after the other, one after the other. And if we don't take recovery time, then we just mentally burn out. And then that eventually leads to physical inflammation, which then leads to absolute, like, boom, you're crashing. And what will also happen is that because Pittas have such a voracious appetite, that if there's a lot of intensity, we already like volume as it relates to food, but we can also wind up eating the wrong foods and doing wrong food combinations because we're like the fire, and I can speak for myself on this, the fire that's in my mind is just something that needs to constantly be fed, especially when I get into really intense spaces. It's like, this is the focus. I have to get this done. And the fire is burning. I can literally feel it in my eyes. And so I've got to keep fueling that fire, whether it's through intense exercise, whether it's through eating. And you can absolutely choose the wrong foods. And you can also wind up doing intense exercise one after the other, after the other, after the other. I mean, like this is my movie, that it is very easy for me to work out 4 times in a day. Like, that is not a problem. It is not a physical, like, oh, I'm physically exhausted. Like, that physical exhaustion doesn't even hit the tape It's like, this is what you do. Like, we're just mentally intense. And so for Pittas, as it relates to recovery, first you need a whole army of people around you that are saying you need to chill the fuck out. Okay.
Cool your flame.
It could like pull the flame back. So it's like, I have you, I have Michael, I have my trainers, I have Jesse, our massage therapist. You're just like, girl, you got to pull it back. So you need an army of people who are going to constantly reinforce that you need recovery. And the recovery needs to be cooling activities. We are drawn towards the fire. We're drawn towards the intensity, heavy lifting, heavy hit, hot yoga. Like those are the things that we like. We like challenge, rock climbing, things that have an intensity around it. And then surrounding that also, like energetically, it's like we like intense music and like, it's just everything's intense all the time. So we got
Last of the Mohicans while you're working out, huh?
There's no less than we
side story to that.
It's a very interesting side story. But like as an example, today when you posted up on your Instagram page and you had Metallica Enter Sandman, I'm like, I love that song. And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, I'm putting that on the car and the radio, and I'm just like, it's just, I'm like, that's my girl. Like, that's who we are. We're intense.
Yeah.
So everything has to be a cooling activity. Walks in nature as part of recovery, cooling foods, and giving yourself the opportunity to cool the flame in between meals, because otherwise it's just like, you're just shoveling, and
Swimming would probably be a really good one for you.
Swimming is great.
Yeah.
Cold plunging.
Yeah.
Like cold plunging, I don't recommend for Vatas.
No.
I mean, in the summer, it's okay.
Summer. Yep.
Summer is okay.
Winter.
No.
Bad idea.
But as a Pitta, like I'm cold plunging twice a day right now.
Yeah.
Because it is like, even if it's only 75 degrees outside.
I still haven't gotten mine out. Full disclosure.
I saw it on the shelf in the garage. The way she pulled that
Cold plunge?
out.
No, it's not happening.
Yeah. But I'm doing it in the morning after my lift, and then in the afternoon after whatever, like even if it's just a walk or whatever, even just to bring the house lights down at the end of the day. And now with my big toe swollen, it actually feels really good.
Yeah, I could probably use it on my knee.
Yeah.
I just wrap some ice around my knee and call it good.
I call it good.
I don't need the rest of my body cold.
I'm just like, I'm in the backyard, and full disclosure, like totally in the like in the bucket. And I'm like, I hope my neighbors aren't looking at me. Well. And if so, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
But cooling activities, swimming, walks in nature, and like gentle yoga.
Some yin yoga, maybe.
Yin yoga. Like the worst thing to do for a Pitta right now is hot yoga at 12 o'clock in the afternoon in the summertime, like the worst. So if you're going to do yoga as part of your recovery, and mobility definitely, but also the nidra game, definitely pranayama, cooling pranayama practices. So like Shitali Sitkari breathing practices, and cold plunging.
Yeah.
Part of the recovery. So the mental emotional game is that we're intense all the time. It's hard to get off the intensity treadmill, but you have to create awareness around it to do that. So
Nidra is also good for Vatas as well.
Yes, Nidra is great
really
for
crucial.
Vatas. Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
And then finally we have our Kaphas.
Kaphas.
You want to speak to Kapha a little bit about the profile of a Kapha?
Profile of a Kapha is, especially this time of year, they're probably not super inclined to really want to work out a whole lot this time of year. Not really wanting to get out of the house and do a whole lot. So when they're doing too much and they need to recover, they're actually probably the least likely to need a ton of recovery.
Right. What's interesting about Kaphas is that they're
already kind of in recovery.
all the time.
All the time.
I mean, it's funny because the clients that I've had that are very Kapha in nature, they get very recovery focused. They're actually the most eager to do recovery.
Can I rest now?
Can I rest now? Exactly. Like they want the recovery. It's like, dude, we haven't even worked out yet. Being a Pitta trainer with a Kapha client is actually, it's phenomenal from a learning experience because I so can't relate.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting educated as it relates to that. But
We need to recover from your recovery by adding some cardio.
right. But it's interesting, like a lot of Kapha oriented folks, they're drawn towards recovery type activities. They want the yin yoga. They want the yoga nidra, which is their recovery actually needs to be a little bit more mobility oriented and mobile. So, if they want to recover, which is going to be probably shorter periods of time, things like walking so that they're still moving, but are not like laying on the couch and slowing down. Whereas like a Vata, like you literally need to plant yourself on a couch and just rest. So Kaphas, they are more oriented towards recovery, but they actually need way less of it. And they're also the people who need less sleep as part of their recovery. As part of all of the constitution types, Kaphas need the least amount of sleep.
Kaphas need, correct me if I'm wrong, but a slow burn. Like they're going to be probably the most prone to, like, they freeze, they are...
they get stuck.
They get depressed, they get stuck. So they need a consistent routine that keeps them going. They probably need some variety in their workautes to keep it a little more exciting for them.
And also to stimulate different parts of their koshic layers. Vatas, it's interesting, they need consistency because of routine, because of their natural inclination towards irregularity. Kaphas need consistency so that there's accountability. So what's actually interesting with Kaphas is that, believe it or not, having a Pitta trainer for a Kapha is actually super helpful. Because it will keep accountability. The good thing about Kaphas also is that they're like hella strong. So they already have built-in strength. So capitalizing on that with their recovery game, they're not going to feel as sore, like say with heavy lifting, they're not going to feel as sore as a Vata or a Pitta will after a heavy lifting session because they already have the physical constitution for that. But they tend to lean towards like, oh, I lifted last week. And then like they need that. This has got to be a 2 to 3 time a week thing, So, and so it moves them out of those heavy mental, emotional, like depressive imbalances that they tend to have, keeping stimulation going. And although I'm not somebody who recommends caffeine, because I'm just not. If any constitution can handle it, it's Kaphas. They can absolutely handle it. But they do need, as part of their recovery, mobility. And big movements that actually gets not
compound.
Just...
More complex.
Things that are not just requiring them to lay on the floor. But, maybe like TRX kind of mobility stuff, which I think is good for them. So, So, yes. It's very interesting to think about the mental, emotional games that, that koshic layer, but how that feeds into training and lifestyle and diet and all of that. Just from those constitution types, you've got the anxiety with Vatas, you've got the intensity with Pittas, and you have sort of the heaviness or the, I don't really want to, or I don't have to. Resistance. That's a good word. With Kaphas, with those tendencies. So, But also like Kaphas, if you give them a plan and a routine, they will follow it. Whereas Vata will be like, oh, I was supposed to follow that? And Pittas are like, I will follow this till I die. So it's just, I don't care if I have one leg. So, All right. So there you have it, friends. Like that's the recovery piece as it relates to the constitution types. And it's also, you have to think about it in terms of the seasons as well. Recovery is going to become more necessary for Vatas in the late fall and the winter. Pittas in the summer, or the late spring and the summer. And with Kaphas, it's going to be that that spring and the late winter and spring.
Yeah.
So when they are the most aggravated, recovery is going to be more necessary, because mentally, emotionally, when they are in their aggravation season, that the mind starts, twitching. And it's really important that recovery gets built in. So it's been a game changer for me, especially, this late spring and summer. I'm like, oh, this makes sense now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because this time of year, your intensity was really starting to show,
Oh, yeah.
I guess,
Oh, yeah.
because of the season
Oh, yeah.
that was coming in.
That heat comes in. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I not seeing change? Well,
Maybe you need to stay inside and put yourself in a cold plunge.
4 days a week is one too many. Or yeah, four workouts,
4 workouts
in a day. Yeah.
Not a good plan.
Yeah. So
Yes.
with that,
Try this, not that.
try this, not that.
Okay, so what do you got for us, sister?
Well, so if you're a Vata, this is awareness is just so crucial with all of this stuff. And this is why we do this podcast, is because we want you to be aware
Yes.
of your tendencies. So if you think you are a Vata, if that part of today spoke to you.
And you can actually find out if you are
Yes, you
by taking
can.
our Constitution quiz online.
So if that speaks to you, then you have to think, okay, what direction do I then have a tendency to head in, and what can I do instead of try this, not that? So why don't I try some lighter workouts, some mobility work, some lighter yoga,
Food.
some yoga nidra, food, what? Eating on a consistent, regular basis. If you're a Pitta and you're like, why am I so intense?
Why am I angry?
Why am I so angry and I'm not losing anything, not gaining what I want?
Why am I born pissed off?
Yeah. Then, try the milder yoga, the yoga nidra, the walking, the mobility, and just see what happens. Again, it's awareness. It's keeping track of this stuff. And then if you find yourself, maybe you're the Kapha, like, oh, it's too hot. I don't want to do anything. Well, you kind of got to get yourself to maybe start doing something on a regular basis. Some warm, energetic yoga. Some, again, mobility keeps coming up. Some walking. In the evenings and the early morning, like get yourself up. You don't need that much sleep.
You don't.
Get yourself up early in the morning and get that cooler walk in the morning. So those are all things to think about. To just try it. We're not saying do this or else. It's, try it and try it on. See how it feels. So
I love that.
yeah.
It's a great try this, not that. All right. Well, that leads us to the truth bomb of the week. The truth bomb is, she spent the first half of life becoming who she needed to be. Now she's unraveling it all to become who she was born to be. That's not a midlife crisis. It's her rebirth. Or as I would say, it's a midlife awakening. So I love that. The other thing that I just wanted to say on this podcast, because it's been very present with us this week, to share with our listeners. And I'm sure people have heard this in other venues, but that whole average age of death for the genders really hit me this week. And I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because, my dad passing at 77 and it's, we just passed the year anniversary of that. Maybe that's just been a little bit more
Your
potent for
birthday.
me. Yeah, my birthday.
Like that always brings things
Yeah.
a little more
A little more
closer
present.
to home.
Yeah, a little more present. But I wanted to share with the listeners that the average age of death for a woman right now is 79 years old. And for a man, it's 74. We tend to outlive men by 5 years. But the decade before, so 69 and 64, is what is considered the decade of decline, where things really start declining physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything it is that we talk about, which ultimately means that the decade before you actually die, there's a lot of suffering. And we have come to believe that this is how it is, that this is the normal course of events. This is the way things are, and that, well, having a hip replacement in your 60s is normal. Having a knee replacement is normal. Being on all of these medications, in that last decade in that decade of decline is just normal.
Yeah, I think about, so after I train my 6 a.m. clients, I stop by Caffeine on State, and there's this lovely little group of older gentlemen.
Yes.
Yeah, you've maybe noticed.
Are they doing like a Bible study? Is that what they're doing?
No, they're just hanging out.
Oh, okay.
They're like when I was a kid, you go to the local landmark diner, and you've got the old farmers that are talking about,
Love those dudes.
back in the day.
Back in the day.
That's these guys.
Yeah.
And
like the World War II vets.
Yeah. Well, that's probably more.
I mean, not these guys now, but I'm saying back in the day.
And I was thinking about the conversations that we tend to have when we're older, and it's, this hurts. Oh, this person had this hip replacement. This person has this going on.
I'm on this medication.
Cancer. I'm on this, and I don't want that when I'm that age.
I don't either.
Those are not the conversations that I want to be having.
No, that's really a great point.
Yeah,
I'm actually refusing that. I refuse to have those conversations.
Yes. So, what you're leading into, I think, is a very important, and I want people to think about that.
So do I.
Think about the people who are a generation older than them, and think about the conversations they're having. Do you want to be having those conversations? Do you want to be sitting there going, why are they talking about this all the time? That's because that's what you are going to be talking about if you don't start taking care of your health now. So,
and that's exactly why I bring it up. And I think it's important because especially this section of podcast that we've done talking about, doshic specific fitness, doshic specific nutrition, supplementation, and now the recovery process. We've kind of covered that whole spectrum from a mental emotional space, because the same thing with the decade of decline before the average death, that is a mental emotional choice.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, like, whoever is out there listening to this, you can disagree with me. That's completely fine. Mm-hmm. That is a mental decision that you have made. Those are choices.
Yeah.
Versus I'm going to make different choices so that does not happen. Mm-hmm. And like, outside of obviously catastrophic things do happen. Yeah. People get into car accidents, people, fall off of ladders. I mean, like, things happen but on average, most of us have control over what it is that we put into our mouth, how it is that we move our body,
the environments we hang out in,
who we hang out with, et cetera. And all of that has an impact on whether or not you are going to have a decade of thriving or a decade of decline. And we shared that today in our BNI group. And I don't know if you noticed, but you could hear a pin drop in that room. It was silent. People were like, oh, quiet. Shit. Because everybody thinks like their 70s is like way out there. It's like, if you're talking about a decade of decline, we're talking about the majority of the people in that room are staring down 60 if they're not already in their 60s. And like, here you are, like, make the right decisions. I, for one, will not allow that to happen to myself or to you or to Michael and the people that I love around me and everybody who's listening. This is really important for you to pay attention to. Get your health in order. If you think that the healthcare system is going to save you, you're kidding yourself. That decade of decline will come more rapidly as a result of you buying into believing you have no control over what that last decade or two of your life looks like.
Because they profit off of your lack of health.
You better fucking believe it. And that's something that just pisses me off.
Yep.
Get your nutrition dialed in. Get a personal trainer. Work with us at a distance if you want to. And get all of it dialed in, because not only is your future doctor now learning off of ChatGPT in med school, but the system is fucking rigged. It's rigged. I'm sorry. And the fact that it is rigged only makes you part of the collateral damage.
Yeah.
Get your health in order. You will not regret it.
It's a great call to action.
That's it. We love you.
Yeah.
Anything else, girl?
No, that was it.
it.
That's great. I love that you ended on that.
Yeah, that's been sticking with me. This past week, it was like I was saying.
It's been sticking with me for 6 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
At least.
And that's what led you to make the decisions that you've made.
So let me hear.
Right. Which is freaking great.
Yeah.
And that conversation we were having with the coaches, our colleagues at FitBody, I want us to be a longevity tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do we get people to live their fullest lives for as long as possible?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's inspired and it's inspiring.
Yeah.
That's all we got for you, friends. All right. Anything else? Nothing? We're good?
We're good.
All right. Friends, we hope you took something away from this. Get the recovery, build it into your lifestyle, get the nutrition dialed in, your fitness dialed in, your recovery dialed in, all of those things, and you will live a long and healthy and prosperous life. You can absolutely find us at thewomanwarrioracademy.com. Please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are trying trying to hit 200 followers, friends. It's a big thing for us. And we are tiny but mighty, and we're on the rise up. So if you can support us, we would so appreciate it. And please do visit thewomanwarrioracademy.com. We have a ton of free resources there, also about how you can connect with us via our Trainer Eyes personalized branded app that has both the training side to it and the nutrition side to it. And we will be adding more of the yoga component to it as well, as part of recovery. And in the future, we'll have some stuff on mobility as well. We're continuing to build it. So find us on Instagram, womanwarrioracademy.com. And thank you so much for tuning in. Jai Bhagwan, everybody. And as always, may your soul be victorious.
Is life hard? Yeah, it's really fucking hard. And you can also have the life it is that you want. You just got to work for it.